potato pound cake. Yes, you see it right there. Can you imagine having this cake on your table for the holidays? Well, honey, you stay right there where you are, and we're gonna make this cake right in your kitchen and in my kitchen. From me to you, Merry Christmas and enjoy this cake. Okay, let's introduce these ingredients. I have 3 baked sweet potatoes. I just grabbed some big ones, y'all, and I already baked them. I baked them for about an hour to 2 hours, 2 hours at the most, because you want to make sure they're good and soft. So you just peel the skin off them. But anyway, we got 3 baked sweet potatoes here. You get the most flavor from them being baked versus boiling them. And our spices, what we're using nutmeg, a little ginger. I'm gonna use cake batter. I may add a little vanilla, but to me, this is a little better. But if you like vanilla instead, you can do that. Yes, you do see a little rum here. That's gonna go for our rum glaze that we're gonna make to go on top of the cake. We're only using 1 stick of butter today, and we're using 1 brick of cream cheese. This recipe is calling for 4 large eggs, all at room temperature. And we're going to mix our sugars. We're going to mix brown sugar and our granulated sugar. Also, the cinnamon is going in with our spices. We're going to have a little cinnamon also. We're using our Baker's Joy to spray our bun pan down really good, so our cake will just fall right on out, y'all. And then we're also, for our flour, we're using cake flour. If you don't have cake flour, you can just go with your regular all-purpose flour. Just make sure you sift it once or twice so it can be good and fluffy and light. And then I'm going to also add in just some Jello pudding. You don't have to. This is optional. I just want to just add in just a little bit more flavor. And yes, so these are our ingredients that we're going to use to get started with this cake. So let's get started. All right, first we want to sift all of our dry ingredients. So I want to get them all sifted. Next, we're going to beat our potatoes. And the reason for this is to just get them good and smooth. And then we want to just make sure, like, if it's any strings in the sweet potatoes, that the strings can just automatically just wrap itself around the beaters. So we're just going to take a few minutes and just beat our potatoes very smooth. See how smooth that is? That's what we're looking for. All right, let's move on. All right, what you see here is 1 stick of butter and 1 brick of cream cheese. And we're gonna get this mixed together very smooth. And after well combining it, this is what it should look like. Just 1 unit of creaminess, goodness. And that's your butter and your cream cheese. Now we're gonna go in with our sugar. I'm using 1 cup of light brown sugar and 1.5 cups of granulated sugar. Now that equals to 2.5 of sugar. 2.5 cups of sugar. So what I decided to do, instead of doing 3 cups of sugar, if you want yours really, really sweet, because now don't forget, the sweet potato has its own natural sweetness, and also being that we baked our sweet potato, that locks in the naturalness of the sugar. So we not gonna go with just 3 cups of sugar, but I am going to add 2 tablespoons of grandma molasses. Yes, gotta go in with that. So we're gonna get all this mixed together and we're gonna combine it very creamily. And let me tell you something, when you're mixing your sugar in with your butter, you need to at least mix at least about a good 3 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes, okay? You want to make sure everything is well combined. You want to make sure it's very, very smooth and fluffy. All right, let's go. You want to stop. Make sure you scrape your bowls down. Make sure, because you want to get it all incorporated. Start back mixing. Y'all, this molasses smells so good in here. And this is what it should look like here. Nice and smooth, fluffy, and creamy. Nice, pretty beigey color. So now we're gonna add our eggs in. We have 4 large eggs. We're gonna go in one at a time. Got all that combined really well. It's smooth and creamy like it should be. Now I'm going in with my flavor. I'm using vanilla flavor, and I'm using the clear vanilla, and that was a teaspoon, and I'm using a teaspoon of lemon because this is what I will put in my regular yams. So I'm using the same exact flavor for this cake that I would use if I were making my candy yams. Because that's, after all, this is a what? Sweet potato pound cake. We got that in. All right, let's go to mixing. Y'all, this cake is well worth all these steps, so just hang in there with me. Okay, and one more thing I just wanted to add, just in case, if you either can add your spices in with your dry ingredients, or when you get to this step, you can just save your spices and add them in. And I mean by your spices, you know, your nutmeg and your cinnamon. I use just a little ginger because I put just a snip of ginger in my yams. That's why they be so special. They taste so good. But if you don't put your spices in with your dry, you can use it, put them in at this step right here. But I did mine with the dry, okay? So, yeah. All right, we got all that done. Now it is time for the star of this show. Now it's time to add our star in, honey. Yes, the sweet potatoes. And this is 2 cups. And I had some left over. So what I'm going to do with my potatoes left over, guess what I'm going to make, y'all? I'm going to make some sweet potato cookies. Actually, it's going to be my version of my tea cake. If you go back and look at my tea cake recipe, for all of you all that have not, please check that out. That video, when I tell you it is jumping off the hook, honey, it's jumping off the hook. But everything that I do for the tea cake video, my tea cake, that's what I'm going to do for this, except I'm going to add in the sweet potatoes. And that's going to be a first for me, so we're going to keep our fingers crossed with that project. But I'm going to call it my sweet potato tea cake. So that's what we're going to do with the remainder of our sweet potato that's left over. But for now, let's get these blended in really, really well. All right, we got all that mixed in, and this is what it's gonna look like. Now it's gonna look separated, but don't let that don't let that scare you if your batter mixture so far is looking separated, because when you put the flour in, it's gonna all start back coming together. So now we're gonna mix in our flour, and I'm just gonna put just maybe like a cup in at a time. Also, I have sitting to the side, y'all, which we may not need it, but for just in case, I have 2 tablespoons of buttermilk to add to this. We probably won't need it, but I guess I'm just so used to just putting buttermilk in my cake. But because of the potatoes that we have in here, 2 cups is why we're not going to need as much liquid. Just a regular pound cake. Oh yeah, honey, we would be using a full cup of buttermilk. And I like to just start mixing my flour in by hand first. I don't like my pound cake. I don't like it to be overworked. So I kind of start mixing mine in by hand first. Then once I get it all mixed in by hand, then that's when I use my mixer then for about two minutes, 2.5 to 3 minutes. I don't too much go over 3 minutes. And then once I, see that it's blended in, I'll go in with more. Right here, I'm just going to go ahead and put this buttermilk in here, child. It's worried me just watching it sit over there. Let's go ahead with the rest of this flour. How about that? On 3 cups. So I'm going to finish getting this in by hand, and we're going to come back and watch me mix a little. Okay, y'all. While my batter is resting, I'm letting it, we hand mixed it, right? So while it's resting a little bit, I'm going to show you how I get my pan ready. And after this, then that's when I'm going to get my mixer, and we're going to mix our batter, mix it together with the mixer. So it's just resting right now. So this is some butter shortening, or you can use regular butter. And I'm just going all around the pan with it. Butter flavor shortening, or you could use regular shortening, or you can use butter. Even though I'm using the Baker's Joy non-stick flour spray, I still like to do this also. Because you want to make sure, bundt pans, or some of them are designed differently. Some of them, your grooves and your crevices area, in your grooves area, are deeper than some. So you want to make sure you get off in those cracks, honey. Because we want this cake to slide right on out of these doggone pans when the time comes. What you think? All up the sides here. All up this middle area. Yeah, baby. Don't miss nothing. Grease really, really well. Then you want to take your flour spray. Make sure you shake it up really good. And then you just want to spray it the same way. Get all up in those creases and those little sharp areas. All right, it's good to go. All right, we got some, I got some toasted pecans here. I just chopped some up and I toasted them for about 3 minutes in the oven. I'm just gonna drop some of these at the bottom. I was trying to decide if I wanted my pecans, because, honey, I got to have the pecans, all right. But, you know, some people have the nut allergy, so we understand you can't put no type of nuts in your cake. But I was trying to decide if I wanted to garnish the top of my cake with the pecans, or if I wanted the pecans to be just embedded in the cake. So I think I want to do it this way. And that way, that's going to lead me to, instead of doing a thick glaze for the cake, I'm going to do a butter sauce, honey, because I'm going to add a little liqueur in that butter sauce. This cake is going to be on point. I just got that feeling. I got that feeling, y'all. All right, this is good. Here we go. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All right, and that's what it should look like at the bottom. Okay, now this is our batter. You know, I told you I had it resting. That means after I got through hand mixing it, I just set it to the side just to let it rest. And you're going to notice that it's going to kind of like, you know, start rising a little. That's because we're using 2 leavening agents. We got 2 teaspoons of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So it's supposed to do that. But once you start back mixing in it, then the air will kind of puff out some, kind of go out a little bit. But let's get this all mixed for just about 2 minutes. And we're going to be ready to put this bad boy in the pan and into the oven. Maybe not even 2 minutes. About a good minute, I'd say. Just until well incorporated. And if you the type person that really love nuts, honey, throw you some nuts on in that batter. If you want to crunch out while you eating cake, girl, throw you some nuts inside this batter, honey. You can't go wrong. Trust me, I want to, but my daughter say I'll just go nuts crazy, so I won't do it this time. All right, I think this is going to be enough. I want you to really see all of this so you can know, estimate about how long. Not even quite a good minute. All right, we're going to stop it right here. That we won't have to worry about this batter being overworked. And you want it to be kind of thick like. See? 1 potato. 2 potato. 3 potato. So, hey, that's the consistency that you want to see right there. 1 potato. 2 potato. Okay, that's it. All right. All right, I'm just going to let you see how I put my cake in, my batter in. I'm just using just a 1 cup scoop. Because this is a pretty thick batter, and it should be. Sweet potato pound cake. Great for the holiday. Girl, you set your table out with this sweet potato pound cake, and then, honey, you come back with that doggone peach cobbler pound cake. Somebody ain't going home. Y'all gonna have some visitors that's gonna spend the night, baby, or at least gonna stay until both of those cakes are gone. Oh my goodness. Beautiful color. And I just see so many different things you can just do with this. Before you get all your batter in, if you love cinnamon, you can take you like a cinnamon streusel, make up a streusel real quick, and just line here with that streusel and just finish putting in the batter. It's just so many different things you can do to make this cake extra special. And this is a 12 cup capacity pound cake bundt pan. So once you get it all in, you just take your spatula and just smooth it. Just kind of like push it up against the wall, making sure it's evenly around the walls. I'm happy so far from what I see, y'all. But we know that final result, that's the word. That will be the word then, honey. Yeah, yeah, buddy. Mm. Can't wait, can't wait. We already have our oven preheated at 350 degrees, and this cake is gonna bake somewhere between an hour and about 15 minutes. I'll say an hour 15, because like I said, this is a 12 cup capacity. If you have like a 10 cup, I would think maybe about an hour to 5 to 8 minutes. But definitely until your if you use a skewer or a toothpick, inserts in, go all the way down to the bottom with it if you can, honey, so you can come back up. And if that doggone thing is clean, the cake is ready. All right. Just a few taps. And she is ready for the oven. I decided to try to use my little small little mini loaf pan for the rest of this little batter that's left over. Oh, these make just had another idea. I can do like some mini ones to give away for Christmas. And this one is not gonna have any nuts at all, so this is gonna be our little tester. Gotta have a test cake, right? Anyway, but this is the remaining of our little batter, y'all. And we're just gonna put this in here. Now, this little size here, it will bake for about 30 to 35 minutes. This is what I like to make my little banana nut bread in when I'm making them for our elderly. That way they won't have too much sweet, but a nice portion. All right, that was perfect. Perfect amount. Cute, huh? Our little loaf pan. We'll see y'all in a little bit. Okay, y'all. It's been an hour and about 17 minutes, I think, that I let it stay in. And it smells just like, oh my goodness, it smells like a mixture of candy yam and baked sweet potatoes. So that's about as clean as I'm going to accept. Let's get another one. Go from this side over here. Yeah, when you push it down, you can just feel the spongy. All right. Okay. So we're gonna go with that. So I say about an hour and 17 minutes just then. So just let's just say an hour and 15 minutes. That should really get it. But this is our sweet potato pound cake. And we're gonna let this cool in this pan on this rack. I'm gonna go with about 30 minutes. I got a tip from Charles. He does a lot of New Orleans baking, but his tip was with his cakes. He said he actually let them stay in the pan for 2 solid hours. And I told him, I said, oh my goodness, because I've always heard, 15 to 10 minutes. And he was like, no. He said, you have to give it time to cool. Have to give it time to come away from the walls of the cake. So he said he let his set 2 hours. So when I did my 7-Up cake, I was so scared, y'all. So I did an hour. And I promise, hey, it just popped right on out. But I'm going to say 30 minutes to 45 minutes with this one, because definitely over 30 minutes, it just fall right out. But I'm not going to do the 10-minute, 15-minute thing anymore. I'm not going to do that anymore. It definitely have to have time to set and cool. So, yeah. But once again, just another real quick peek. It's nice and brown. I mean, it looks just like how a baked sweet potato would look on the outside. And it smells so good, y'all. All right, so we'll be back when we're ready to take this bad boy out of this pan.